Chosen one, I know the silent conversation you had in your mind this morning. You woke up, felt that familiar, crushing heaviness in your chest, and mentally drafted your spiritual resignation letter. You looked at the days remaining in this week, saw absolutely no evidence of change, and your mind whispered that you cannot do this anymore. You told yourself you are just going to survive until Sunday and expect nothing. But I need you to pause that thought. Do not let your mind finalize that surrender. The Holy Spirit intercepted your algorithm right now because you are experiencing a massive deception. Subscribe to align your frequency with the remnant who refuse to break, and if your spirit recognizes this truth, comment 777 to mentally anchor your mind in this exact moment. Listen to me very carefully. You are not feeling this exhaustion because God forgot you. You are under a heavy frequency attack because the enemy saw the heavenly calendar before you did. He is in an absolute panic, trying to make you walk out of the waiting room right now because a massive life-altering event has already been scheduled for you before this week ends. But before I show you what is actually tearing your energy apart, I have a very strict instruction for you. You must stay with me until the very final second of this message. If you click away before the closing activation ceremony, you will walk into the next few days completely blind and unprotected against 3 specific traps the enemy has already laid out for you. By the end of this audio, you will have the exact protocol to hold your ground. You will uncover the hidden biological reason behind your spiritual exhaustion, and you will receive a final spiritual sealing that will lock your frequency in place. Do not leave your post. Now, let us decode the heavy atmosphere surrounding your mind. That brain fog, that sudden wave of apathy, that feeling of simply not caring anymore that hit you this week, that is not depression. That is not you losing your faith or failing a test. You are experiencing what I call the upgrade fever. To understand this, we have to look at the book of Daniel, chapter 10, verse 8. Daniel receives a massive vision regarding the future. A scheduled event from heaven is presented to him, but look at his physical reaction. He says, "Therefore I was left alone, and saw this great vision, and there remained no strength in me, for my comeliness was turned in me into corruption, and I retained no strength." Most people read that and just think Daniel was a little tired. But the English translation completely misses the medical and spiritual reality of what happened. The Hebrew word used for his strength or comeliness is haud. It means majesty, vigor, the natural vital energy of a human being. When the schedule of heaven collided with Daniel's earthly reality, his haud, his vital energy, literally turned into corruption. It drained out of him. He did not lose his faith. His biological vessel was simply overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of the divine frequency he was encountering. This is exactly what is happening to you right now. You are feeling this intense pressure, this absolute physical and mental drain, because your current capacity is trying to process the massive weight of a blessing that has just been released into your timeline. You are not weak. You are experiencing the biological friction of a spiritual upgrade. The enemy wants you to look at your empty hands and believe that the silence means denial. You feel stuck this week because you are looking at your life from the ground level. You see obstacles, delays, and dead ends. You are tired of waiting for the pieces to move. But let your spirit elevate for a second. You are confusing delay with synchronization. Delay means something is being held back. Synchronization means thousands of micro details are being perfectly aligned so that when the door opens, it never closes again. From heaven's perspective, this week is a masterclass in divine orchestration. The reason you are being kept in a holding pattern right now is that God is moving people who do not even know your name into position for a scheduled collision with your destiny. Heaven is not silent. Heaven is incredibly busy working on your behalf. But while heaven is working, you need a survival mechanism for the waiting room. You cannot survive the rest of this week operating on sheer willpower. You need a system. I call this the Anchor Protocol, and you must begin applying it today. The first directive of the Anchor Protocol is to stop checking the clock. Every time you look at the circumstances and measure how much time is left in the week, you are pulling yourself out of faith and back into logic. Your logical mind cannot process divine timing. Stop calculating how it can happen and start resting in the fact that it is scheduled. The second directive is the practice of strategic silence. You are bleeding energy because you are internally debating with doubt. You are trying to figure out the how and the when. Right now, without moving a single muscle, I want you to shift your focus to the tension in your jaw and the tightness in your shoulders. That tension is the physical manifestation of your mind trying to control an outcome that is already secured. Take a slow breath, and in your mind, I want you to visualize a massive, heavy iron anchor dropping from your chest, crashing through the floor and burying itself deep into the bedrock of the earth. Feel that absolute stillness. Type "I drop my anchor" in the comments to physically document this mental shift. You are no longer drifting. You are anchored. You have your anchor. You understand the synchronization. You know that your vital energy is being stretched by the upgrade fever, and right now, you probably feel a sense of relief. You think this exhaustion makes sense now. You think that the crushing weight on your chest is just the accumulated trauma of your past, the years of waiting, the tears you have cried, and that you are finally just releasing it all. But what if I told you that the massive weight you are feeling right now is not coming from your past at all? What if I told you that it has absolutely nothing to do with what you have been through? The pressure you are feeling is actually bleeding backward from your future. Let me show you what is truly crushing your frequency right now, and why your brain is currently fighting against the very miracle you have been praying for. You have been carrying this narrative that you are just tired from years of trauma. You think you are carrying the weight of everything you survived. You think this exhaustion is just your body finally breaking down after being strong for everybody else. Hear me clearly. That is a lie. The crushing pressure in your chest right now has absolutely nothing to do with your past. It is not trauma, it is mass. You are feeling the gravitational pull of your future. The event scheduled for this week is so massive, so heavy with glory and responsibility, that its energy is literally bleeding backward into your present moment. But here is the problem. Here is why you feel like you are breaking apart instead of celebrating. There is a frequency mismatch. When you are exhausted, when you are stressed, when you are pacing the floors and just trying to survive until Sunday, your brain operates in a state called beta. Beta is the frequency of survival. It is the frequency of fight or flight. It is noisy, it is anxious, and it is defensive. But divine schedules, heavenly downloads, and miracle manifestations do not transmit on the beta frequency. They transmit on theta. Theta is the frequency of absolute stillness, deep intuition, and divine connection. So what is happening to you right now is a spiritual short circuit. Heaven is trying to download a massive theta reality into a brain that is locked in a beta survival loop. Your biological vessel is accidentally rejecting the very miracle you begged for because the frequencies are violently colliding. You are trying to receive a divine broadcast on a channel filled with static. So how do you fix a frequency mismatch when you are already too exhausted to even think? The ancient mystics, the prophets of old, they used to spend decades in total isolation, fasting and meditating for hours just to quiet their survival instincts and force their brains into that theta state to hear the voice of God. But you do not have decades, you do not even have days. You are in the waiting room right now, and the clock is ticking on this week. You need your mind to shift frequencies today. This is why you were led to this specific message. Science has finally caught up to ancient spiritual reality. Researchers, including former neuroscientists from NASA, have proven that you can physically guide your brain back into the theta state using specific, layered sound frequencies. It is a process called brainwave entrainment. I want you to think of it as a digital tuning fork for your spirit. It is a sacred technology that recalibrates your neural pathways, pulling you out of the anxious survival frequency and dropping you directly into the exact bandwidth where divine synchronization happens. It is called the Genius Wave. It takes exactly 7 minutes. You do not have to try hard. You do not have to learn a complex meditation. You do not have to force anything. You simply listen, and your biological vessel synchronizes with the frequency of your scheduled blessing. If your spirit confirms right now that your brain has been stuck in survival mode and you need this tool to clear your mental frequency before this week ends, check the pinned comment to explore it. This is a divine provision for those who are ready to receive it. But listen to me very carefully. Whether you use that tuning fork to align your brain waves or not, there is another massive wall you are hitting. A wall hidden so deep in your subconscious that you do not even want to admit it exists. I need to take you into the shadow room for a moment. I need to speak to the raw, unfiltered part of you that you hide from everyone, even from God. The uncomfortable truth is this: deep down, you are secretly sabotaging this waiting room. You are pulling away. You are suddenly finding reasons to doubt. Why? Because you are terrified of the appointment. You have been praying for this massive breakthrough. You have been crying for this promotion, this relationship, this financial shift. But a quiet voice inside your head is whispering, what if I cannot carry it? What if I get the blessing and I completely ruin it? What if this success changes me into someone I do not recognize? What if the responsibility destroys me? You feel incredibly guilty for feeling this fear. You think it means your faith is weak. You see other people celebrating their blessings with zero hesitation, and you wonder what is wrong with you. Why are you filled with dread right on the edge of victory? Let me show you a profound truth in the book of Exodus, chapters 3 and 4. God appears to Moses in the burning bush. He gives Moses his massive, scheduled assignment. I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people out of Egypt. That is the ultimate breakthrough. But do you know what Moses does? He argues. He pushes back. Moses gives God 5 distinct excuses. Who am I to go? What if they do not believe me? I am not eloquent. Please send someone else. Preachers will read that and tell you Moses lacked faith. They will tell you he was insecure. But you have to look at the context of his life. Moses grew up in the palace of Pharaoh. He knew exactly what it took to govern a nation. He knew the politics, the brutal logistics, and the agonizing weight of leading millions of people through a desert. Moses was not arguing out of disbelief. He was arguing because he accurately understood the crushing weight of the assignment. His fear was not a sign of weakness, it was proof of his awareness. The people who crash and burn when they get blessed are the ones who grab it with zero fear, thinking it is just a fun reward or a shiny trophy. They have no idea how heavy glory actually is. But you are trembling right now because you understand the weight of the glory God is handing you. You have seen people get blessed before they were ready, and you have watched them lose their minds, lose their families, and lose their souls. Your fear is not disqualifying you. Your fear is the exact proof that you are mature enough to carry the blessing. You are terrified because you actually revere the sacredness of what is coming. Right now, I need you to do a mental action. I do not want you to run from that fear anymore. In your mind, I want you to look directly at the fear of this new level. Acknowledge the weight of it, and mentally tell it, I understand how heavy this is going to be, but I am ready to carry it. Type I am ready in the comments right now. Document this shift. You are not a victim of your past trauma. You are the chosen vessel for a massive future. Chosen one. Now your frequency is aligned. Your shadow is exposed. The enemy can no longer use your own mind against you. He has lost his subtle weapons. So, before Sunday arrives, he is going to launch desperate, direct, 11th-hour sabotages. There are 3 specific traps he has laid out in your waiting room right now. If you step on them, you reset the clock. You need to know exactly what they look like. The first trap is the Plan B temptation. Within the next 48 hours, someone or something might present you with an opportunity that looks incredibly good on paper. It could be a sudden financial offer, a new job prospect, or a romantic interest that just appears out of nowhere. It will look like a life raft. But if you look closely, it will require you to compromise on a boundary God just taught you. It will require you to lower your frequency back to survival mode. The enemy knows you are tired. He knows you want relief. He will offer you a counterfeit breakthrough just to make you step out of the waiting room. To defeat this, you must ask your spirit one question. Does this bring the deep peace of the theta frequency, or does it trigger my anxious survival instincts? If it makes you feel rushed, it is a trap. Reject it mentally. The second trap is the inner circle provocation. Just when you are trying to hold your frequency, someone close to you, a family member or a friend, will suddenly start a senseless argument. They will question your choices, doubt your path, or try to drag you into petty drama. Understand this, it is not them, it is a strategic distraction. The enemy wants to pull your focus away from the heavenly schedule and trap you in an earthly conflict, draining the exact energy you need to receive your miracle. You defeat this with the Anchor Protocol. Strategic silence. Do not defend yourself. Do not explain your season to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Let them be wrong about you. The third trap is phantom fatigue. Right before the scheduled event manifests, you will experience a sudden, overwhelming wave of heaviness, a biological urge to just go to sleep, to shut down, to completely unplug and quit everything. It will feel darker than normal exhaustion. This is not your body failing. This is the enemy attempting to mentally drug you so you are completely disengaged when your name is called. When this phantom fatigue hits, you must recognize it not as a sign of defeat, but as the ultimate symptom of proximity. You are so close that the enemy is throwing his final, desperate illusion at you. Does this actually work? Let me tell you about 2 chosen ones who were exactly where you are right now. 8 months ago, someone watching a message just like this was completely drained by a Wednesday afternoon. They were ready to cancel a massive project God had given them. They had no resources left, no energy, and no support. But instead of quitting, they applied the Anchor Protocol. They stopped looking at the clock. They stopped calculating how it was going to happen. They chose to just hold their frequency and rest in the fact that it was scheduled. Friday morning, at exactly 9 a.m., an email arrived. It was a divine connection from an unexpected source that completely funded their vision. The breakthrough came at the exact moment they had previously planned to quit. Last year, another chosen one was waiting for the spouse God had promised them. They were lonely and exhausted. Suddenly, someone who looked perfect on paper appeared, but they felt a subtle friction in their spirit. It was the Plan B trap. It was the 11th hour sabotage. They did the hardest thing imaginable. They said no to a good thing because it was not a God thing. 3 weeks later, the actual scheduled person, the one heaven had prepared, walked into their life. They survived the waiting room because they did not fall for the sabotage. And you are going to survive it too, because we are about to close the final loop. From the very beginning of this message, I told you that something massive is stamped scheduled for you this week. What is that event? It is the sudden, violent manifestation of your personal destiny. It is the moment the internal spiritual work you have been doing for years finally collides with your external reality. The door is unlocking from the inside. To understand this timing, you must hear the ancient wisdom found in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. It says, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, Wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Look at that profound contradiction. Though it tarry, it will not tarry. How can something be delayed and on time at the exact same moment? Because of the difference between human perception and heavenly logistics, to your exhausted, human beta frequency mind, it feels like it is tarrying. It feels late. It feels like God forgot. But in the exact, mathematical, theta reality of heaven, your miracle is arriving with millisecond accuracy. It is not late. It is perfectly synchronized. And now, it is time to lock you into that synchronization. We are moving into the sealing ceremony, right where you are, even if you are driving, sitting at your desk, or lying in bed. I want you to mentally stand at attention. If you are physically able to do so safely, simply place one hand over your heart to physically anchor this moment. We are shifting from teaching to activation. This is not a bedtime prayer. This is a commissioning. Father, in the mighty name of Jesus, we recognize this exact second as a scheduled divine appointment. The heavens are watching this transaction. The cloud of witnesses is present. You see their exhaustion, Father. You saw them sitting in silence earlier this week, wondering how they could possibly take another step. You know the exact weight of the towel they wanted to throw in this morning, but they did not. They are still here. They held the line. So right now, by the authority of the Word and the power of the Spirit, I seal the anchor protocol into their spirit. I seal their neural pathways into the deep, receiving frequency of theta. I bind the plan B temptation. I bind the inner circle provocation. I command the phantom fatigue to break its hold over their physical body right now. Every 11th hour sabotage is hereby dismantled and rendered powerless. I declare that this week will not end in defeat. I decree that the scheduled event will manifest with pinpoint accuracy. The delay is over. The synchronization is complete. You are moving from the waiting room to the throne room. Chosen one, heaven is asking you a question. Will you hold the line for just a little longer? Will you stay in the room until your name is called? In your mind, or out loud right now, I need you to answer. Say yes. Say, I will not leave. Heaven heard that. It is sealed. You are commissioned. Your name is on the schedule. Go walk into it. Do not say Amen yet. Stand in this silence for 30 seconds and feel the shift in your frequency.